So when it comes to the brand Blend Oud, I've reviewed a couple. I've reviewed Oud Sapphire and I've also reviewed Mirage. Both of those fragrances I think are really, really good. Today we're going to be reviewing a fragrance called Rams, R-A-M-S, and this fragrance has a really interesting note breakdown. There's a lot of floral ingredients in here, but something about this fragrance makes me feel like it's so much more than just the florals. There's a lot of other magical elements kind of doing their own thing in this fragrance. In any case, I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I let you in on Rams by Blend Oud, I tell you all about this fragrance, the smell, the notes, the performance, the longevity, comparisons, so on and so forth. I do want to start things off by saying that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you took something of value from today's episode or if you learned something from today's fragrance review. So this fragrance has a lot of floral ingredients in here. Sambac jasmine, there's rose, there is freesia, there is orchid. In the opening, you also have tea and bergamot, and then as it dries down, you have kind of like this musky patchouli base. Now, my initial thought when I smelled this was, this smells amazing, but I've smelled this before. So it took me a while to really think about where I've smelled it, because I do recall smelling this in the air, and you know, it has a very familiar feel to it. It's an olfactive landscape that I've been to before, that I visited before. Eventually I figured it out and I looked up the note breakdown of the original fragrance to which this reminds me, and it's actually very similar, almost identical. In any case, I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this smell. Let's start things off with the presentation. So in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to get that punch of flowers, right? It's this diverse floral bouquet that is absolutely beautiful, if I can be honest. You have the rose, you have the orchid, you have the jasmine, the freesia. The rose is sensual, the jasmine is clean, the freesia is exotic, the orchid adds that quirky element to it. So it's a very well-rounded, very diversified floral heart that you're going to get in this fragrance. Now, the tea in the opening also adds a bit of smoothness to the fragrance. I always say that tea comes across smelling very serene, tranquil, meditative. I don't get that from this fragrance. This one is very sensual, kind of exotic, very flirtatious, has a youthful appeal to it. The bergamot is very short-lived, but the patchouli is really nice and warm, almost conveying a bit of sweetness as well, right? There's a touch of vanilla in here too, if I'm smelling correctly. And this one reminds me a whole lot of Flowerbomb by Viktor and Rolf. And that's one of my favorite fragrances. It's been one of my favorite fragrances for over a decade now, and I've smelled it on any number of people, believe me. And I know what Flowerbomb smells like. So as soon as I smelled this, I was like, wait a minute. It's jogging my memory, but in a very pleasant way. Which leads us to ask the following question. How is this different from Flowerbomb? Are there any differences? Given the price of this fragrance, despite Max Aroma's discount, is this one still worth picking up when compared to something like a Flowerbomb? And the truth of the matter is that I think this is different in the sense that it smells more natural, it's richer, the longevity is great. I know a lot of people complain about the longevity of the original Flowerbomb by Viktor and Rolf. So this one is intact, this one is pretty nicely preserved. And I think that with this fragrance, you are going to get a breadth of notes that comes across smelling a bit more natural. It's a bit more true to form, a bit more realistic, and not as fleeting, not as ephemeral as the original Flowerbomb. Now, if you have experience with Flowerbomb, this is going to evoke the same memories. As I smell it now, it smells sexy, sultry, seductive, youthful, flirtatious. There's a lot of really, really nice qualities about it. And you know, just you try this and you can see why a DNA like this would be so successful. But this fragrance does have maybe a 2-note difference in the note breakdown, which is highly negligible. But you are looking at a DNA that is almost identical to Flowerbomb, but the performance is better. It's a little bit more realistic. And this one, I think, looks a really, really classy on your shelf. I actually do like the presentation for Flowerbomb as well. So it's kind of hard to compare the two. They're, you know, night and day. But in any case, I love the smell. I think this one is a gorgeous aroma, a little reductive, which was also my criticism with Oud Sapphire. It smelled way too similar, like too similar to one of the Maison Francis Crookjohn Ouds. I think it was Oud Satin Oud. But in any case, this one, a bit reductive, does remind me of another popular designer fragrance that has a very well-established reputation, but I think it's a gorgeous smell. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, can't really say this is very unique. I found Mirage to be a rather unique fragrance, and that one with the orange and the resins, and wow, beautiful fragrance. I'm going to be wearing it a whole lot in the months to come. This one is a little familiar to something that I've tried a long time ago and something that I still smell, so keep that in mind. Longevity, 8 hours on my skin. Projection was great for the first hour of application. It radiated about an arm's length. I don't think beyond that, but about an arm's length. It became an elbow's length scent right around hour 6, 6.5. Right around hour 8 or 9, it became a skin scent. So the longevity on this one is great. It will last you the entire day. Versatility on this one, look, I think it does lean a little feminine, especially given my pre-existing association with Flowerbomb and women. So I think it does lean a little bit feminine in that regard. But if you like the smell, check it out. The patchouli is a bit warmer in this fragrance too. Almost conveys a bit of like a chocolatey undertone. Definitely worth checking out. And you can sample fragrances on Max Aroma. So you don't have to buy a full bottle. You can actually just sample it. I think this is great for casual wear, but formal occasions also. This will probably appeal to somebody who's a little bit younger. And I think that this one is great for every season of the year. So spring, summer, fall, winter. I think this is great all year round. And in terms of the presentation, really classy presentation with the plaque and the gold hardware. My final verdict on this fragrance is it's a beautiful smell, albeit a little reminiscent of something that I've tried already with a nearly identical note breakdown. But this one smells really, really good. If my wife started wearing this one, I would be very happy. There you have it, ladies and gents. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was my review of Rams by Blendude. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below, hit the subscribe button to support the channel. It's absolutely free and it would mean so much to me. Hit the bell icon and click where it says enable all notifications. This way you never miss any of my future daily uploads. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.